Last lesson we met helm and customize. Today we name the disease this series cures, and the medicine, trunk-based development, with overlays. By the end of this lesson, you will recognize the branch per environment anti-pattern, understand exactly what it costs you, and see how trunk-based development plus overlays fixes it, without giving up the one thing it gives you: ownership separation. Here is where a lot of teams start. One Git repository holds the application. Inside it, 3 branches: dev, test, and prod. Each branch is kept alive, not for days, but for years. The 3 branches literally become the 3 environments. It feels tidy at first. Every environment has its own place. What could go wrong? Now add ownership. Often, different companies own different branches. Company A owns dev. Company B owns test. Company C owns prod. And nobody is allowed to touch another tenant's branch. This is where the pattern comes from. It grew out of a real need to keep teams out of each other's way. The intention is good. The execution is what hurts. Picture it. The 3 branches all split off from one old common ancestor, long ago. Since then, each one grew independently. And the dashed lines tell the whole story. These branches are never merged back together. They are 3 separate histories, living in the same repository, pretending to be one project. Here is the painful part. The branches never merge, and by now, they can't. A real merge would produce conflicts in almost every file, because nobody kept them in sync. So nobody dares attempt it. The divergence is frozen in place. Ask the simple question, what is the checkout service, exactly? And you get 3 different answers, 1 per branch. There is no single source of truth. So how does a change reach all 3 environments? By hand. A new feature lands in dev. Then a human opens the test branch and retypes the change there. Then another human opens prod and retypes it again. Every hop is a chance to drop something, to corrupt an indentation, to forget a sidecar. Promotion becomes a manual copy-paste machine. Follow a single change across the branches. It starts clean in dev, gets copy-pasted into test, maybe with a typo, and then copy-pasted again into prod, where something quietly gets dropped. The end result is silent drift. Nobody intended it. The process simply produces it, every single time, because humans are doing the work of a machine. And drift compounds. Tiny differences accumulate, one copy-paste at a time. After a while, the 3 branches are not the same application anymore. Now your tests run against something that no longer resembles production. A critical fix applied straight to prod may never reach dev, so the disease is never even visible there. You are testing a fiction. Put it on a timeline. On day 1, 3 identical copies. A few months later, small differences, easy to handwave away. A year later, 3 genuinely different systems that merely share a name. That is the destination of every branch per environment setup. The only question is how fast you get there. So what does all this cost? Diverged manifests, so there is no single truth. Lossy, manual promotion, so things go missing. No reviewable diff, because nothing ever merges. Security fixes that don't propagate, because prod is an island. And releases that are slow, scary, and error-prone, every single time. 1 bad pattern, 8 real prices. 3 branches. 3 headaches. 1 anti-pattern. To be fair, there is 1 genuine upside. Different owners stay out of each other's way. No tenant can accidentally break another tenant's environment. That isolation is real, and it is valuable, especially when different companies are involved. We are not going to throw it away. We are going to preserve it a much better way. Here is the medicine, trunk-based development. 1 branch, main, is the single source of truth for every environment. Everyone merges small, reviewed changes to main. There are no long-lived environment branches anymore. You still use feature branches, but they are short, a few hours or days, and then they merge and disappear. The trunk is where the truth lives. Picture the new shape. 1 main branch at the top, everyone merges there. Below it, 3 environments, dev, test, and prod. But notice, these are not branches anymore. They are deployment targets. Each one reads main at a particular point, a particular tag. The environments move forward independently, but they all read from the same one trunk. This is the mental shift at the heart of trunk-based work. Dev, test, and prod are places you deploy to. They are not Git branches. Each environment simply points at a particular version of main, and they can each move forward independently. Dev can be 2 releases ahead of prod, and that is completely fine, because they all share one source. And this reframes promotion entirely. To promote, you do not retype the change. You advance an environment's pointer, from tag v2 to tag v3, for example. The change already exists on main, you are simply choosing when each environment receives it. Promotion becomes an auditable, reversible decision, not a manual transcription. See it as pointers. Main produces a stream of immutable tags. Each environment points at one of them. Dev points at the newest. Test points at the previous one, waiting for sign-off. Prod points at the one before that. Promoting to prod means moving its pointer one tag forward, a one-line decision, fully reversible, no copy-paste in sight. Here are the commands behind trunk-based delivery. You work on main, with short-lived feature branches that merge quickly. When a release is ready, you cut an immutable get tag. And promotion, the part that used to be copy-paste, is now a single command. You tell Argo CD to point the environment at the new tag. One line. Fully reviewable in the change history. Promotion is a pointer move. Not a copy-paste. But wait, if everyone shares one main, where do the environment differences live? That is the missing piece, overlays. Main holds the shared base, identical for everyone. Each environment differs only in small ways, replicas, an extra scanner, an image tag. Those differences live in thin overlays on top of the base. Trunk-based gives you one source of truth. Overlays give each environment its shape. Together, they are the complete fix. Trunk for the source. Overlays for the shape. There is one rule that keeps the shared base clean. The base never says the words dev, test, or prod. Instead, it exposes capabilities, features like autoscaling, security scanning, or multi-zone deployment. The overlays turn those capabilities on or off per environment. This separation is what makes one trunk reusable by every tenant, without anyone stepping on anyone else. And here is the payoff. We keep the upside, ownership isolation, but without the cost. Ownership moves to a file called codeowners, backed by branch protection. Ownership becomes per folder on main. Company A still guards its chart. Company C still guards prod's overlay. Nobody can change another tenant's corner without their review. The isolation is intact. The divergence is gone. See how it fits. One main branch, with a codeowners file and branch protection on top. Each folder is owned by the right company. A change to checkout's chart needs Company A's approval. A change to prod's overlay needs Company C's. Ownership is enforced by the pull request, not by splitting into branches. Same isolation. No drift. Same isolation. No drift. How do you actually get there from here? 5 steps. Freeze the branches and declare main the trunk. Reconcile once, merge the union of all 3 branches into main, turning every environment-specific bit into a capability or an overlay. Point each environment at main plus its overlay, through Argo CD, then delete the long-lived branches. The reconciliation is painful, but you do it exactly once, and then never again. Quick recap. The branch per environment pattern diverges and drifts, and its copy-paste promotion is lossy. Trunk-based development fixes the source, one main branch, with environments as deployment targets. Promotion becomes moving a pointer, and overlays carry the environment differences. And the ownership isolation you wanted? It is preserved through codeowners, without the drift. A small exercise. Find the long-lived environment branches in your own repository, or a repository you know. Count them, and check how long each one has lived. Then name one change that had to be copy-pasted across all of them, and imagine that same change as a single, reviewable pointer move. Once you see the contrast, you cannot unsee it. One trunk. Thin overlays. Ownership intact. That is the disease and the medicine. Next, we go deep on the missing piece itself, overlays, in both Helm and Customize.